Yeah, this is the Legacy League. Tell me what will your legacy be?
All right, welcome back to the Week 2 Massachusetts Legacy Leagues podcast. We got, with me, I got Burke, Elliot, and we're going to be going over today this week's games, standing out players, and what the future holds for this league. Start us off strong. We got a great game from FTG and B2A Records. Call it Battle of the Abbreviations there. We got Offensive Player of the Year from last season in Massachusetts, Ethan Austin leading the way with 29 points. Last season's All-Star Terrence Gallo leading with following him up with 16 points. Yeah, I'll start with Burke on this one. What did you see from FTG? I know it was a close game, 2-point game. What kind of worked for them this game?
Can you hear me? All right. Sorry. Yeah, I didn't know my mic was glitching out a little bit. FTG. The first thing I noticed early on was they couldn't get out in transition as much as they wanted to. I think week one, they were pushing the pace the whole time, but B2A did a good job of kind of stopping that. And they controlled the pace for much of the first half, but they kind of let their guard down. I noticed in the second half, which almost cost them the game. Like you said, Ethan Austin was great, 29-8. Terrence Gallo played phenomenal. Played the passing lanes. Had a bunch of big dunks. Didn't miss a shot. And he was phenomenal out there.
Exactly. I mean, Ethan Austin, offensive hound in the transition is like FTG's game. Terrence Gallo, Ethan Austin, Cole, they all are great in the transition. They kicked my team's butt last year. I think that he scored 90% of their points from fast breaks, and there's just nothing you can stop when you got Terrence Gallo dunking from 10 feet out. Nothing you can do there, but it was a close game. B2A put up a great fight. Elliot, what do you got to say about them?
Yeah, B2A is definitely not an 0-2 team. They got a lot of skill, and I was impressed by the way that they fought in this one. Beginning of the game starts, and I'm like, we're gonna see another FTG runaway, like just a sheer dominant performance. But you had players that stepped up tonight. Maurice Ashley, Giordano Neville, just two guys that both dropped 24 points. They were efficient. They shot well from beyond the arc, and hit their free throws pretty well too when they were fouled. So just making the right plays all around and keeping their team in the game.
Yeah, definitely combining for 48, massive here, especially against a great defensive team. I know Derek Stone is a new addition to this league, but he is a big body down in the post. You do not want to go scoring up against him. He's going to block you. And Defensive Player of the Year last summer, Sebastian Delone. He didn't have. I know it's a huge difference. He was averaging 26 last season, and he's only averaging about like 8, 9 this season. But still defensively, he's there. You can't forget about him. He's the big game changer for them. And yeah, I think we'll move on to our second closest game. You guys weren't on it, so I'll kind of talk about it more. But we got A1 versus Run Up. It was a 71-59 win for A1. They were ahead the whole game, and then in the third, I think Run Up tied it up. They kind of snuck from behind. A1 kind of let up easy baskets. Sean Yard, I mean, scored 40 last week. Kind of a more of a quiet game this week's only scoring 21, but I mean, that's not quiet. But he was the main factor in that comeback. He was hitting three after three. But yeah, Dante Rivera led the way for A1 with 27 points. He shot 12 for 17. He had 7 rebounds, 6 steals. He had 2 steals at the very end of the game that put him up like 4 more points. He scored off both of them. Yeah, he is a menace when it comes to defense and offense. He had an insane poster. I'm not sure if you guys watching the podcast have seen it yet, but hopefully you will soon. It will blow your mind. He is dominant when he's driving to the rim. But he's got a supporting cast with him. So he's got Darwin Perea, 16 points, 10 rebounds. It wasn't a great shooting night for him, but defensively, I mean, he's literally almost a copy of Dante. He's just pestering you when you're driving up. I mean, there's nothing really you can do when you got two little guards on you that just are magnets to the ball. And then you got Dante's college teammate Manny. I know they both played together before this. He put up 12 points, 9 rebounds, and I remember he came over to me and Sebastian when the game was going on, and he yelled at Sebastian saying he was coming for the Defensive Player of the Year. So I'm definitely excited to see what he brings to the table later on this season. And for run it up, we talked about Sean Yard. He led the way, but Casey Key, he was dominant last summer, and he also helped Sean Yard kind of come back here. Other than that, they got to find some other options because they were struggling out there. But I'll go to Elliot right now. I know you haven't you didn't see this game, but you still got some opinion, I'm sure, on either of these teams. If you want to talk, you can let them know.
Yeah, I got to interview A1, I believe it was after their game, and like really fascinating doing a team interview, which I've never done, and I've done probably like hundreds of interviews by now. But you can just see like when you have a combination of joy, like sheer joy for the game, and competitiveness, that's a recipe for success. And there's clearly a bondage between each player that I noticed just talking to them, and they're hyping each other up. You love to see that, and that's what it's all about.
No, yeah, totally. The team chem is there 100%. They want to be the whole team to be in the interviews. They ask me each time, can we all go? And they hype each other up, and I love watching them do the interviews. They have the best interviews so far. So, but I'll get to Burke on this real quick. Next week we got FTG versus A1. That is probably the biggest game yet. It's going to be a huge game. I'm very excited for that. I hope I'm not playing during that. I'll have to check that. But Burke, what do you got to say about that matchup coming up?
Well, I mean, hopefully I get to watch them. I haven't got to see A1 play this year, so hopefully I get scheduled on that. I've heard only good things. I've seen FGG the last 2 weeks, see how they play, and it sounds like it'll be a great matchup. They play similar. They like to get out. They're very efficient, play great defense. So I'm more than pumped. I hope I get to see it.
Very excited for that game, definitely. It's going to be crazy. But going on to game three, kind of moving away from these closer games, we got more of the blowouts down here in the bottom half of this podcast. We got RI Wave versus BVO. I mean, what hasn't been said about RI Wave? All these guys have been playing together. They've played in the league. They got history in the league. Um, we got 28 points from Cody. We got Shaq, Audrey dropping 18, Dom dropping 18. It was just a dominant performance from everyone. BVO though, they've been struggling. But first week we didn't have anybody over 10 points. This week we got two kind of standout guys, and Markel Wade dropping 18 and Casey Kendall dropping 14. Did either of you guys get to see this game? Oh, this was on your floor? All right. So I'll pass it over to Elliot. What do you have to say about this game? I know it was a blowout. RI Wave, what hasn't been said? We just said that. But what do you want to talk about BVO? What do they got to do to kind of change up their course going on?
It all starts on the defensive end. That's where you establish yourself as a legit team. Like you know, I, I don't want to say they're not taken seriously because this is a league that can get pretty competitive and there's a lot of good competition. But if you're not playing defense at the maximum level that you can play, I'm not talking about talent here. I'm talking about the will to play defense. That's going to show up, and that's going to hurt you. That's really going to hurt you because they'll notice that. And lack of hustle is not a recipe for success. So I think that I think fouls. They got into a little bit of foul trouble. One guy had four, I believe, in the by the third quarter, and yeah, I mean it's the simple things. So
I mean, yeah, defense wins championships. You know what they say. But again, BVO is one of our free agent teams. So some of the guys know each other. Some first time ever meeting these guys, playing with these guys. So it's kind of that chemistry they got to build, which comes. It definitely comes. Even for guys that know each other, like RI Wave, they were struggling earlier in the season last year, losing their first game. But as the year goes on, chemistry builds, and yeah, it's gonna be tough to beat RI Wave this year. That being said, Burke, what does RI Wave got to do to win it all this year? What do they got to keep doing?
I mean, they gotta just. I mean, they're. I don't know. I mean, they're just eating, man. um, Cody Crawford, 28, 10 and 4. They're 2-0. I mean, that's a sounds like an MVP candidate to me. Dom Langston, back to back double doubles, 17 and 11, like averaging 17 and 11. I think, and their threes aren't falling. 3 for 28. So I think when the threes start falling, you're going to see even more dominant teams. So
They are a good three-point shooting team too. Last year, I think Anthony Lyons dropped, I think, 6 threes alone against my team last season in one game. Cody, I think he must be up there for the all-time threes made in the legacy leagues. But yeah, they're a good shooting team, but you see even dominant wins with no shooting. So that just shows how
Burke,
dominant they are.
Burke,
And
that wasn't a shot at Joe, was it?
no, he was running all over the place, man. He made one though. He had more than Anthony. So
Joey's not here, so we can definitely say Joey needs to step it up. I need to see three
Step
threes
it
next
up.
week from him. 3 threes. All right, and let's move on to our last game. This one hits close to home. You guys you weren't there to see this one, and I'm happy for that. It was a blowout, another 42-point loss for the Party Crashers, and versus the Reapers. It was a 51 loss. Kevin Views, man, he won MVP last season. Uh, First week was their first regular season loss, and they came back with a vengeance, and it was sadly against my team. Kevin Views dropping 34 points, only missing 2 shots, and I think they were off of like ridiculous dunks that he was trying to do. So it was almost a perfect game from him. Um, Everyone else on the team just ate, stealing the ball. I think we put up a Massachusetts record of turnovers. It was a mess of a game for the Party Crashers. But we did get our, what I like to say, our star player for his first game here in the Legacy Leagues, Alec De Silva. He put up 15 points. Very excited to see him play. I know we can all play better. I know my guys. I know the chemistry is going to bond even better as we go on. But nah, Reapers, they had our number last season. They got our number again this one. Uh, Not much can be said about Kevin Views. I mean, he's got a supporting cast with him. I know last week we said maybe they lost some key players, but some players stood up this week. And yeah, you guys got anything to say about the Reapers? I'll go to either one of you. Bert,
that's another team I haven't seen play. So I'm excited to. Yeah.
never mind then. Elliot, have you seen them play?
No, but I
Oh
interviewed
my.
Kevin. I interviewed Kevin at the end of the game, and dude seems just like he was kind of nonchalant about it. Hey, I'm Kevin. His teammate was more excited, seemed more excited than he was that he was dropping dimes, scoring 34 points. They're going to be a contender. They're going to be a contender, and I think the power rankings are going to show how we think about how we feel about them.
Yeah, his teammate was Josh Monty Castro, who put up. He fills the stat sheet every week. He's such a fun guy. He's loud. If you play him, he's shouting in your ear the whole time, and he brings the energy for the Reapers. They definitely are not the same team without him. I know he didn't shoot well this week. He was kind of shocked when he saw the score table at the end, but no, he's definitely a game changer for sure. And yeah, so I'll kind of wrap up our games this week, and I kind of move on to a big conversation here. It might get us in some trouble. We don't know, but let's go early predictions here. Our champions. Who are we gonna pick for our champions? I know this is gonna get you in some beef with other teams here and there, but you guys can't pick the same team. And I'm just gonna put Elliot on the spot right now. Go.
There we go. I'm going R1 Wave. They've looked the best. I've seen them. I've seen them play twice now, and actually no, I've only seen them play once. But from what I saw, that's a team that looks the most complete.
Yep, I mean that's an easy pick right there. Elliot went with the easy way, and he got on Joey's good side. So there you go. Burke, what we got from you?
I would have said the Wave, but my second choice it's got to be FGG. I mean, I think that they just have the best 4-man lineup out there. They're all just they're just great together. So I think FGG is my early pick right now.
Elliot?
I gotta say one thing about FTG because I love my boy Ethan, but he's gotta be careful. He's gonna injure himself on one of these crazy dunks. FTG cannot afford to lose him. He is the engine of that team, and I know he likes to be flashy and everything, and he's great for the league. I love it. I love watching him, but he's got to be careful because without him, they're gonna be in trouble.
Yes, of course. Ethan, please stay healthy. We love seeing you play. Uh, maybe just sit out the game we play you. But that being said, I get to pick a championship team, right, guys? It's gonna be a tough pick, but I'm gonna go with the Party Crashers, right? I'll beat the odds there. Why not bet on yourself? It's gonna be a very tough championship, but you know, why not bet on myself? And so looking forward to next week, we got BVO versus B2A, FTG versus A1, RI Wave versus Reapers. Also a good game if we want to talk about that real quick. I know you guys haven't seen the Reapers that much, but that is also going to be a good game. Do you guys kind of want to talk about what the Reapers are going to have to do to beat the RI Wave? Elliot, do you want to go first?
Yeah, they won the championship last year, right? Reapers.
No, they went undefeated and lost to
Under
Sebastian DeLone's team, the Mob. Yeah, close game too.
So unfinished business, clearly, and I think that's going to be a motivational aspect of this season. And but going up against a team like R1 Wave is not going to be easy, especially if they shoot better than they did last game. But the way the energy that they seem to have, and if their best player clearly, forgetting his name now,
Kevin Views.
Kevin Views. How can I forget Kevin Views? Yeah, he can carry them to another win. So
All right, Burke, what do you guys say about the RI Wave? What do they got to do to kind of stop this hungry Reapers team?
I mean, they gotta just keep doing what they're doing. I think the threes are gonna start falling. They have good size, physicality, so I think if they just keep playing their team basketball, shots are gonna start falling. They're gonna get into the groove a bit more. As the season goes along, you find out what's working, what's not. It is maybe a bit of a layover, but they've been looking good, so I think they could definitely win that game.
Yes, definitely, definitely. And then we got Run It Up versus the Party Crashers. I do have to say about that game, our only win last season came from Casey Key's team, and he is on the Run It Up. So maybe that's just something that sparks us and drives us to win. I don't know. We'll have to see. But yeah, that about wraps it up for this week of Legacy Leagues in Massachusetts. Thank you everyone for watching. Shout out Burke, shout out Elliot. And yeah, that's me signing off.